Well, folks, in our Eastern Division playoffs, all roads lead to Vegas, and IG one step from having to hit the bricks, with Vici one more win away from punching their ticket to our grand finals coming up in January. They took Game 3, and really kind of a surprising fashion, the way it went down. IG controlled the map perfectly for about 45, 50, 55 minutes, and the most interesting statistic, I think, to come out of all of that has showed us was how dramatically Anti-Mage's win rate drops off in games that go longer than 55. His wheelhouse is between 45 and 55. And Invictus missed their timing. Vici held on great, managed to farm up their heroes, had a 3-corn lineup by the time all was said and done. And one of the more bizarre and anticlimactic endings we've seen throughout all of D2L play so far. Now, though, one more game for Vici to earn their way to our grand finals while IG is fighting for their lives. Invictus opens up with a bristleback and Pugna pick, Clockwork, the opening pick from Vici, to help break down the draft and analysis and perhaps break down a little bit in retrospect about game number 3. Welcome in once again, Ben Merlini-Wu. And Ben, I mean, there's really no other word for it. It was anticlimactic. We didn't even see a defense. They literally did not defend the Ancient in a game called Defense of the Ancients. And I think Ben is muted. That was a really good joke, Ben. Come on, man. You got to get it together. Can't.
What was the joke?
the joke. They literally didn't defend the Ancient in a game called Defense of the Ancients.
Well, yeah, they were sitting in the fountain. They were having a fountain party.
Yeah, basically. And
wow, second pick anti-mage. What in the world, Vici?
Yeah, that's a little weird. That's not at all what you would really anticipate coming out of Vici Gaming, given the pace they've shown us so far. But we saw how effective the hero can be, even though Hal got off to a terrible start in Game 3. He bounced back, and it looked like Invictus was ready to just completely dominate the tail end of that game. But they were, as good as they were in moving and opening up the map for him and for YYF on the Nature's Prophet to find their farm and place pressure in a lot of places, they just never allowed it to translate into any kind of tangible gain. I mean, the high water mark was bringing down a tier 3 at top. That's as far as they ever got. Meanwhile, Vici capitalized on just a handful of big mistakes down the stretch and basically just took a free win by the time, well, I mean, certainly you can't say it was a free win in a 60-minute game, but again, uncontested as they charged down mid, took down the tier 3, skipped the racks entirely, and just flat out throned them.
With really good decision making in the late game, all except for Siler. Siler got cut out, I think, twice. He used buyback, but that was just equal to House, so you can't really fault them because they had mass hexes and mass disables on both sides. But that decision, just straight go for the throne at the end, was a very concentrated effort. Like, I don't even think any of them attacked the racks. They're like, hey, let's go for the throne, and they just went for it. And IG, even if they were to respond, they wouldn't be able to do anything. But at the same time, that was just very smart move from Vici. You can definitely tell that they're on the same page. Very nice game plan going into the late game. Hey, let's get some lockdowns, let's get some pickoffs on important heroes, and then just wait for the opportunity to present itself to us, because IG was putting pressure all in their T3s. They always had to be back to defend. Really
surprised to see Invictus going to the bristleback and Pugna picks. We saw Vici give this a shot in Game 2, and IG just really had their number. So, the blueprint on how to beat this kind of a lineup has already been given in stark contrast to Vici, but IG has seen it work as well. And apparently Vici ran something very similar to great effect against LGD China not long ago, perhaps earlier this week. I can't remember when it was, but our good friend Nahaz popped up the information about that. Now they're going to go ahead and grab the Dragon Knight. So, yeah, this is going to be a very heavy push-oriented lineup, a guns-forward kind of a lineup. While Vici now, with the Clockwork, they're going to have certainly a lot of reach. They're going to have the split push of an anti-mage. I'm a little curious as to how they're going to build around the AM. Is it going to be a lineup similar to what Invictus ran last game? Or is it going to be maybe something a little bit more interesting, something a little more pocket-like?
They had very smart bans, though. The Venomancer ban, the Lone Druid ban, and the Chen ban makes IG's push strat much less potent. And IG can probably grab an anti-mage, or not an anti-mage, a Nature's Prophet here if they want to. It would make their lands really weird, so probably not. Yeah, we'll see what Vici does to try and counter it. I think Timbersaw would be really good. Timbersaw is really good at defending against push, but ROTK already looks like it has this hero. I don't think I've seen Super play Clockwork either.
Yeah, seeing the... I want to say I have. I just can't remember when and where. I'm sure Nahaz will if that ends up being the case, the House will inform us. They're going to go ahead and grab a Shadow Demon, and Shadow Demon's a great example of a hero who at one point was literal first pick, first man status for some teams, and just fell off very, very hard. Has become a very extremely situational pick now. And Invictus going to go ahead and try to fit him into this lineup. Now, what a Shadow Demon gives you is great initiation range on a single target, the ability to lock someone down. And when you look at the way he's going to work with the Dragon Knight in particular, that's a nice answer to the mobility of Anti-Mage. It's going to give you the ability to try to gank him out very early on, simply disrupt him and have your Dragon Tail ready to roll as soon as he comes out of the disruption. He'll also have his own images. His own illusions. He'll be banging away on him the moment he pops out. Now Leshrac joins the supporting cast of Rubik, and Vici gonna have a little bit of chance to put some pressure on too. Rubik and Leshrac, very excellent roamers, especially in tandem with each other.
Vici needs some AoE though. They don't really have any AoE follow up. I mean, I guess Split Earth, but that's not really enough for Clockwork. They need something big. Like a Magnus, I think would work pretty well for them if they wanted to go back to that strategy with the empowered anti-mage. Gyrocopter would work well, but it would make their lanes really strange. The amount of damage that they can do, especially like against a defensive disrupt, you just drop a call down and they're still in a lot of danger. And it is good anti-push too, so I think Gyrocopter would work well in the lineup. I mean, the anti-mage early pick is like, it's usually doesn't work out that well unless you're really, really good at running it, but that's not really Vici's style. I guess Sylar does play a pretty mean anti-mage though.
One thing I'm very curious about is where they're going to end up putting this Pugna. I mean, you see the Dragon Knight pick up. Dragon Knight generally you'll see in mid for just about any team that ever drafts him. Bristleback, as we've talked about, you can farm him.
Oh, they banned the mag. What?
Wow. So thinking on the same page you were, not wanting to give that away. And when you look at the initiation from Invictus, it is single-target initiation across the board. So certainly not wanting to go up against a mass AoE kind of an initiator. Puck is available if Vici wants to grab him up, however.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not the best pickup, but it's probably the best pickup now that Magnus is gone. Other than that, IG needs one more support that can pair well with Leshrac. Lina is not that great because it's not very good versus anti-mage, and it doesn't really work well in a push lineup. Looking at the other heroes, I mean, there's not really a standout pick here. They could also go for Enchantress would be okay, but it's not good at dealing with anti-mage in later game. She does have pure damage, and she is a hex carrier, but is she going to be able to get to that point in the game? Don't really know. But we do see Shadow Demon Chen run a lot. That is banned out. Venomancer would be pretty good, already banned out. So most of the good heroes for either team are already banned out. I think this is good drafting for both teams. Oh wait, Enchantress banned out too. Oh wait, whoops, I didn't even see that. Oh.
So yeah, at this point, the options, I mean, you can't say they're limited. It just the natural synergies we're accustomed to seeing aren't really present for us right now. And again, to me, I'm really curious as to how Invictus is going to choose to run this. Bristleback likes an off lane, can be farmed effectively in many cases. Pugna we saw run mid by Vici earlier tonight. Very effective there. Can be run as a support as well. So if they wanted to, they could even do something weird. Nope, they're just going to go ahead and grab another support and give them a little bit more AoE, give them a little bit more lockdown as well, and actually gives them more push potential. Easy to forget that Jakiro does add a considerable amount of push from range, especially when you're talking about his synergy with a Dragon Knight and a Pugna.
And Liquid Fire does help with tower pushing too. You can't forget about that. The thing is pretty owned, especially now that you can cast it as an orb and it doesn't just automatically proc. Yeah, this is kind of more 6.78 stuff going on here. A lot of anti-mage, Jakiro, Shadow Demon. But, I mean, it is tried and true, though.
And there's going to be the OD.
Oh, boy.
So,
the old dirty, as
that's
you like
right.
to call it.
That's what it is, man. Old dirty. Old dirty rounding out the front five for Vici. So, heading into game 4 now, and it will be Hal who's actually, it's going to be Hal who's on the Pugna. That's fascinating. So, Ferrari will be taking, I was wondering if how they were going to do that. Which of the three they were going to farm. I was actually leaning towards Bristleback. But they're going to be doing, and again, we've seen this done in the West to quite good effect. Loda did it for Alliance in one of their last matches. Can't remember who it was against. And actually, I think it might have been against Na'Vi in that best of 3. And Fnatic did it against Na'Vi, now that I think about it. Farming from the 1 position, the Pugna. And this is really going to be a fun match to watch, I think. As YYF, I mean, Bristle's going to be Bristle. He's going to do damage. He's got his goo. And so on and so forth. But seeing how much mileage IG is able to get out of Hal farming that Pugna, if they don't switch him, they very well could. And we'll watch for that. But this is basically going to be, let's get out, let's push towers. They're going to be able to take towers ultra fast, and it's really going to be up to VG in a large way to somehow make up for the fact that Anti-Mage is not going to be all that great for the first 20 minutes. They do have a lot of tools to do so, but as you mentioned, their AoE isn't all that great. They have Sanity's Eclipse, they have the Cogs, and that's all well and good. But outside of that, there are some weaknesses that can be exploited very effectively by this lineup from IG. And as the teams move out, doesn't look like we're going to have anyone running into anyone. At worst, Hal is kind of out by himself right now. And Siler leading the charge. We'll get a look at him. And Hal sees it coming and immediately backs off. So as they pull back, we'll take a look at our lineups and what could be our final game of the entire Eastern Division. Vici Gaming seeking to finish up in second place overall, winning the playoffs and heading to Vegas if they can get a win now against Invictus. They're going to have ROTK playing on our Clockwork with OD, played by Super, doubling back now, Fenrir. The captain will be handling Leshrac. It'll be FY playing on our Rubik, and the Animage going to be handled by Siler. On the other side of the river, we've got Faith playing our Shadow Demon. Shakiro will be handled by Banana. The Dragon Knight will be taken mid by Ferrari 430, who's really just been had an amazing series so far. He's really been the standout in pretty much every game for IG thus far. No surprise given just how justifiably highly talented he happens to be. YYF will be on our Bristleback, and the Pugna going to be taken down to bottom lane by Hal.
Range lane's going on by IG. Actually, Hal will be solo offlane versus ROTK, so that's actually a really good matchup for Hal. I think that Vici did not predict that IG were going to do things like that. Well, actually, IG did not predict that they were going to do that, but they have the ward set up in the jungle, and we're able to scout it out accordingly. Faith looks like he's in a little bit of trouble, but just one right click coming out from FY. They definitely need 3 heroes here in order to contest this lane.
And we can see the Anti-Mage trying to soak up what he can. Fenrir and FY, certainly a potent combination on the Leshrac and the Rubik. And this is one of those situations where Anti-Mage is one of those heroes that he's not known particularly as a lane dominator, but with the right supporting cast, he actually can get a lot of kills early on just because of the chances he can take. If you have a nice combination and the damage output that 2 supports can have, like a Leshrac and a Rubik between Fadebolt and hang on, Telekinesis back, Split Earth on the mark, and this is what we were talking about. First Blood goes.
Really late Ice Bath.
Yep. And First Blood ends up going to Vici, and this is not at all how you want this lane to go. They've got 3 here now, Faith, Banana, and YYF. This is still going to be quite chancy.
Faith cannot get caught out like that, or if he does, the Banana has to be able to Ice Path Fenrir before he can get the stun off. So if YYF gets caught, that's okay. He just gets defensively disrupted, or he just straight up tanks it with Bristleback, and then he's okay. But if one of the 2 supports get caught off, or most importantly Faith, because no one can really save him, then they're just going to get easy kills. So Faith has to really watch his position, stay far in the back, don't even try and harass Siler if FY and Fenrir are even close to there. And now at this point, let's see, Super versus Ferrari, looks like they're both going for the rune on top. Is he going to be able to Astral in time? Yes, he will, or at least threaten it.
Yep. Didn't even try to go for it. Knew he wasn't going to get it as soon as he saw the positioning of Super. And one would think this should be a pretty solid win for Super, especially as he gets more points in Astral Imprisonment.
His CS is dominating, or 11-4 compared to 8-1. It's pretty good. ROTK on bottom is not having the easiest time, 13-2 for the Pugna, 9-0 for ROTK. But this is not a good matchup for ROTK at all.
It's only going to get worse as more levels are gained by Hal. I'm with you. I feel like this is a beautiful lane switch. And ROTK, you can see he's even being half zoned down now. I mean, he's certainly staying in experience range, but has no real chance to get close and gain gold. Super with that DD, continuing to dominate here in mid, and now in top lane, Siler continuing to farm safely away. He's 10-4 right now. Compare that to Bristleback's 3-1.
Yeah, Super is doing a pretty good job in mid though, and yeah, these lanes are going decently for Vici. OD has the upper hand in mid, but at the same time, Pugna has the upper hand on bottom, so ROTK definitely needs a lot more regen, though. He needs to either like bottle crow or be able to constantly cog spam Hao, because Hao has only one more blast left on him actually, and definitely as soon as he hits level 5 he can try and zone ROTK out.
And this is actually going to be a decent little wave that's going to end up shoving into this tower most likely. And Split Earth off the mark there, but Sylar continues to just farm away. Sylar sitting in this try-on-try situation with 17 CS. Couldn't really not ask for better, sitting at 4 minutes in.
And they have Magic 6 on all 3 heroes in that lane too, so Bristleback's effectiveness is going to be negated a lot by those Magic 6.
Ferrari was thinking about pre-runing, and it will be an illusion at bottom if he decides to go check it out. And looks like he won't. Super. We'll finish up the wave, take a look up top, and run up, eat a tree, do what he does, gets off in imprisonment. The rune's still just hanging out there in bottom lane, but both, all 3 lanes really, feeling pretty calm. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of trading here between Ferrari and Super in particular, but no real attempts to rotate. And this is one of those things that an aggressive tri-lane does pretty much guarantee you. Whenever you run a try and force a tri-lane response out of the enemy team, they really have a hard time rotating supports towards mid to put pressure on.
Yeah, they really do, and I think that works in both heroes' favors. I think Ferrari actually does not have enough mana for Dragon Tail. He will once this Astral. No, actually only 91 mana. He needs a couple more stats points just so he can Dragon Tail in case Super actually does get engaged upon. But in top lane, yeah, Sylar is a big winner in this lane. But I mean, YIS not doing too poorly either. 16-1, especially after one of his supports have given up first blood, is pretty respectable in itself. And a double stack will get cleared by IG. Unfortunately, they won't get the 5-minute spawn because of that sentry ward.
Poor Dragon Knight, feeling kind of dumb at the moment. 13 mana to his entire name. He is doing okay CS-wise. 16 CS in this matchup isn't the end of the world. But we are seeing VG now take advantage of their aggressive position. And this is the other thing you can do from... Oh, wow. Ferrari was out there quite a bit trying to suck them back. And Super, that was flat-out miscommunication. He's going to get away because of that. Nope, never mind. Got caught out. Disruptions there from Faith, though. And, yep, there's the Ice Path. Got all 3 with him. There's the OD ulti, though, and Faith, woo, barely able to salve through that last auto attack.
He needs to Astral himself.
Yo, he didn't. Shadow Poison makes it a 1-for-1 trade there, and that's actually going to be fair. They're going to be happy about that, but that was definite miscommunication there. No doubt about it, as OD could have Astraled the Dragon Knight when he was standing right there, rushed up and was waiting on his teammates to come through, and ended up getting him closer to there.
Yeah, he didn't have vision uphill, though. They need uphill ward if they want to engage like that. But, yeah, the 2 supports are missing. Ferrari kind of scouted or sensed it out, rather. And, yeah, OD, if he astraled himself, I'm not actually sure if it would have been long enough to tick the poison during it. But there's at least a possibility of Faith manually proccing hit while he is in the Astral, or right as soon as he Astrals. And now YYF is stuck in this 1-on-1 matchup with Sylar. Sylar already forced to use Salve, even though he's at 350 HP. That's a little bit of a questionable decision. I guess he's maybe scared of the Shadow Demon Initiate with the Twin Head Dragon follow, but Twin Head's already a mid, so I don't know why he was really inefficient about that. He really had to be efficient as a carry player.
Do want to say that, again, point out 2 excellent individual efforts there. That was a 3-man Ice Path that Banana happened to hit that really allowed them to turn the tables there a bit, and salving in between auto attacks that kept Shadow Demon alive. So across the board, excellent play to make that an even trade in what should have been, by all rights, a complete win going the way of VG. Now we see IG looking to put some pressure on, and here's that push. They're wasting no time. Ferrari, a fresh 6. Down goes the Nether Ward.
The supports are already there, though. That's really nice play from the supports, but this tower is still going to fall, though. There's no way they can defend this.
And they've got all 5. Yeah.
Now.
There's a disruption. And FY dead to rights. And Fenrir going to go ahead and bail out finally. Manages to make it away. Sylar, though, is really not capitalizing as much as you would think. Sitting at 35 CS. So he's going to get some damage done to this tower.
I guess IG doesn't really have that much mana, but they don't really need to stop. They still have the ultimate on Dragon Knight for a good like 20 seconds. They still have Pugna with tons of mana because of Arcane Boots, and yeah, this T2 may be the next point of action for Vici, or for IG rather. I think that Fenrir should also switch to a Lightning Storm build at this point too, just to counter the push.
Doing what he can, but the push is just massive. FY's down here to try and do what he can. Has 2 points in the Fade Bolt. OD has finished a Hand of Midas. And Vici just trying to weather the storm at this point. IG will finally be pushed away as they ran out of creeps. They're going to go hunting for ROTK, though. He's got a hook. He's going to have to find it onto a teammate. There's a disruption to buy time. And Split Earth is there. Is it enough to buy him time? Nope, ends up cleaned up. And Vici just kind of getting rocked at the moment. OD drops the ult. He doesn't do as much damage as he would like. Ice Path is there, hits nothing. Mana Void secures at least one kill. YYF going toe-to-toe with Super. Do they have the firepower? They do. Fade Bolt from the high ground allowed them to come out big winners on this one. And Banana not even out of trouble yet. FY's there. Doesn't have enough mana for a telekinesis. Fenrir does have one for a Split Earth, and FY stays on him. He'll have it. Now he does. In the meantime, Siler gets a triple kill behind the fight, and he's going to make it an... Oh, good disruption from Faith. Might have disjointed the ultra kill. Nope, Rubik's going to take it nonetheless. A complete dismantling of Invictus Gaming as they chased out ROTK, and the movement from Vici from all angles. Exactly what they needed to take a commanding lead now, just short of 10 minutes in.
That was one of the best mana voids I've seen in the early game too. It got 2 people. It actually might have gotten 3 people too, because it looked like OD was getting chased down by her Bristle and he was about to die, but then the mana void hit on Faith, hit on Hao, and they immediately had to turn tail and run. And YOF was a little bit out of position, but he didn't expect the damage coming. I didn't expect the damage coming, but Pugna with almost 1,000 mana, if he's at full empty mana and full HP, he can probably just die simply due to a mana void. And they caught him out at the right time. Very nice play from Siler coming in with that early anti-mage.
They are going to end up taking a tier 1 off of it. Super caught with the Ice Path. Gets off the Ashland Prison. Needs to vacate very quickly. And this is kind of what this lineup of IG dictates. They have to play this way. Basically, put your head down and rush through.
This is what Vici should have done in game 2.
Yep. Just, I mean, it doesn't matter how bad you lost that last fight. Your lineup says you need to fight right now, and they're going to continue. Siler, though, with Treads, now a Perseverance up. He's beginning to, I mean, still his farms is just at 45. He did come out of that with 3 kills, though, so that certainly put him in a good position. Pugna,
3 kills and 3 assists on your anti-mage, just as much as you can ask for him in this early game.
And VG going to rotate up the top. I like how VG's anticipating the movement out of IG. As you mentioned, in bottom, they already had their supports in place. It didn't quite work out at the tier 1. They managed to hold the tier 2, though. But they're doing a real nice job of just thinking one step ahead of IG and punishing them for it. Now we're going to have one caught out. Down goes the ward, but ROTK there, and with the hook, they're going to get 2 out of that for sure. And FY with that stolen Ice Path, a huge shot. Faith in trouble now. He's going to try to make a run for it. We're going to see a TP out. Here comes YYF. Mana Void canceled out. Now he'll spin it, jump on Faith to try and secure the next kill. Ferrari can't really do much. Forced to run away. That's another 4 for nil. Can you say 5 as Super drops the hammer? And that, again, an unmitigated disaster as Vici just moving to the right place at the right time and punishing IG's reactions.
Yeah, this is really exceptional play by Vici too. They anticipate the push, and they are there preemptively too. Like the 2 supports were down there before the push actually happened. They didn't even have to TP in, and then they were there in mid because the fight was already mid, and then they smoked top preemptively before IG push, and that was really bad positioning by Hao. He got caught up. Like, they even saw him. Like, the smoke, their smoke got popped while THD was up here, and one of the heroes was down here that got popped by smoke, but he got hit by the Split Earth. That wasn't meant for him. It was meant for the Jakiro, and he got caught out and immediately died out, and the hook shot too from ROTK. So with huge plays in the early game, Vici taking a very commanding lead, 11-3, and IG is just about to fall apart too. They don't have the late game advantage, and Anti-Mage will have his battle victory very, very soon.
Right, and that's an excellent point you make. And, you know, even though we talked extensively about Anti-Mage and how you can push it ultra late and an Anti-Mage will fall off eventually, they just don't really have that hero. A Dragon Knight versus an Anti-Mage, all things being equal, the Anti-Mage will win. YYF going to be caught out with an Ice Path, Telekinesis, Split Earth, and dead to rights. Another great pick for them. Vici is flat out outmaneuvering IG. Siler's going to be caught at bottom. Let's see, does he have the blink? He does. And ready to bail on out. But as of right now, Ferrari just didn't...
That's a mech on OD too.
Yep. Very fast mech. Pugna still looking for his. He'll have it soon. But this is the risk you run with this kind of a lineup. You can run out of steam, especially if you get punched in the mouth this many times. 12 times, as a matter of fact. Ice Path on the Hell.
Another Ice Path.
And Disruption's there to bail him out. The Split Earth was off the mark. Here comes YYF, going to try to chase him away. The Goo's going to connect on Fenrir. And Ice Path again catches all three. And, wow, it looks like they turned around, thought about fighting. Ice Path off the mark there. FY's Ice Paths are better than Bananas. Now there's a Cog onto Fate. ROTK looking to secure a kill. Another Ice Path caught YYF. He's down. ROTK going to work. Fate going to be actually disrupting himself. Ice Path that time caught Super. Ferrari pops the ultimate. Super might be in trouble. Gets off the imprison. Fate cleans up with auto attacks behind the fight. But How there with the live drain. However, Siler's there with another clutch mana void. FY going to cut off Ferrari. FY, you maniac. Pick him Shakiro. He plays it pretty well. He's hit Ice Path after Ice Path. And Vici is just ransacking IG as they're going to put a cherry on it. Banana drops as well.
Oh my goodness, that's so bad. And I thought that IG was going to catch a small break there because Rubik almost had his spell seal worn off with the Ice Path. It was like literally like 15 seconds away, and then he spell stole right before the Jakiro died. And he didn't have enough mana to cast Dual Breath. So this early game was just a huge disaster by IG, and it really came off Siler's one big mana void. Like before that, IG completely had all the momentum going for them. Swept that T1 on bottom, killed its support, and they were well on their way to taking a T2. But that one mana void, and that's the thing about running a push lineup. You make one mistake, it wasn't even a mistake. It was just good play by Siler, and I mean maybe overextension by IG, but I wouldn't really call it that. They definitely didn't see that coming. You can't really see that coming when you have a push lineup. Hey, we're gonna get stopped by one mana void from an anti-mage. That's not what you think is going to stop you in your tracks, but that's exactly what happened. And that's the thing about good carry players. They're there when their team needs them, but it looks like he's going to die here.
Ice Path there to follow it up, and Siler, that was kind of a dumb death. Siler's played well, but let's just call that what it is. He saw Pugna. He saw Pugna turn around and run backwards. Had to know there was a high probability someone was going to come punish him for being there, and sure enough, it happened. So good play, but every now and then we all make mistakes. 17-6 though, and IG looking to get things back on track. And just watch this tower melt. Another good Ice Path catches 3, and it might have caught 4. I didn't even see if it got Banana. It's going to force the glyph out. At bottom, ROTK is trying to split push as well as he can. They've got some defensive measures in place. Ice Path caught 3 again, and a lot of damage being done in an AoE. So even though they take the tier 1, they certainly took a beating for it. And in the meantime, the middle tower falls to Super.
Yep, and still IG not that far behind in the game, but they were forced into one strategy. It looks like Faith is easily picked off due to the telekinesis and the Split Earth combo, and they have a blink on FY now. That's how well he's been playing. He has Arcane Boost, blink, and an urn at 16 minutes time. He does get smoked, but it is right in sight of a observer ward. They may actually bait it out here. And I think they're going to bait it out.
Yep. Definitely what they're
Ferrari,
doing.
Just stand there.
And there's another 2-man Ice Path. Down goes another ward. Fenrir eats a lot of damage. Good follow-up with the Split Earth. And another mana void. ROTK secures the kill that time. Banana caught the cogs. And, I mean, what do you even do? They catch Faith again. Oh, my
goodness. Another Ice Path. Like, FY MVP in this game, hands down. Well, maybe Siler with that one play, but overall play, FY, oh my goodness. And that's just ridiculous. And yeah, he does have very nice cast animation on Rubik.
Right.
And he is just hitting them left, right, and center.
That was the point I was going to make. As amazing as it is, it's, you know, it's a totally different story when you're throwing that out with a 0.1 cast point. It is very, very different from playing an actual Jakiro. With the long wind up. So he is playing amazing, not taking anything away from him, but just don't want to make it out to be more than it is. He certainly has an advantage. And that's why Ice Path is arguably one of the top 5 spells you can steal in all of Dota if you're a Rubik. But for that exact reason, it's spammable, the mana cost is relatively low, and you get such a gigantic advantage due to Rubik not having any wind up on his casts.
Yeah, it is definitely one stronger. That Shikuchi. Oh, another lift on Ferrari.
And one of these, he actually doesn't have Ice Path for once, but he has Breathe Fire, and he uses it in combination with Super and Fenrir to secure not 1, but 2 kills as FY melts once again. And this is honestly getting into GG territory. Yeah, there it is. So
that is brutal.
Brutal might be the word.
23 kills in 18 minutes from Vici. That is absolutely insane.
I think that's putting it mildly. And with that, Vici Gaming wins our Eastern Division playoffs They're going to Vegas. Hope you guys will join us there as well. Coming up January 7th and 10th, Vici punches their ticket to Sin City and joins Alliance and LGD China in our grand finals as our playoffs here in the East draw to a close. Coming into the Eastern Division group stage, I don't think anyone would have named Vici as a team they thought would come out of it. LGD China maybe, but certainly DK and Invictus, at least at that point, were the definite favorites. But now, across the entire group stage where they performed very well and playing their way up through our bubble race, they've earned every bit of it, Merlini. And I can't say enough about how impressed I am with this team based on what we've seen out of them over the last 48 hours.
Yeah, they've just been on quite the tear, beating out LGD China, DK, and now IG. I think they beat out IG before too, but
yep.
I mean, they are so ridiculously good. And it seems like the top of the East has been rotating. First it was DK prior to 6.79 hitting, then it was LGD China. IG had their time, but now it is BG's.
Absolutely, no doubt. And they do it with style too. They basically did the same thing to DK last night too. It was a competitive series, and thank you very much, Clockwork, you yelling regeneration like that, buddy. But 18 minutes and 3 seconds, the only time it took for them to put a cherry on the series. Standout play, of course, from FY's Rubik, who finishes 6-1. Siler, of course, going berserk on that anti-mage. Right place, right time. Mana voids for days. He finishes 6-1-8. Leshrak and OD and Clock combine for a 9-4 record across the back end, so really no weak point in their play. 23 kills amassed in 18 minutes to the 6 of Invictus Gaming. Guys and gals, it has been an absolute journey here throughout our Eastern Division, and want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of it with us. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. We're not done completely, though. We've got one more best of 5 coming up tomorrow, and that'll be Fnatic taking on Team Liquid to determine who is going to be joining these 3 teams in Las Vegas in our grand finals coming up in January. And, of course, coming back for that series will be Ben Merlini. Well, you can find us both on Twitter. I'm at AC. He's at Merlini Dota. And, Merlini, my friend, it's been another really fun night of casting, but I think Vici is, you can't say enough. Again, I don't think you can overhype them at this point. Their performance has just been so truly amazing. And even the way they played through our group stage, I mean, not to say they were unblemished. They certainly had their ups and downs. But they have congealed as a team in a way that I think has good reason to put fear in the hearts of any team that's up against them anytime soon.
Who are they going to face off with? Is it the second place of the East versus first place of the West?
Yep.
So they play Alliance?
Yep. That's the idea. As I understand it anyway. We're still... actually, I don't know that we actually have that written in the rules anywhere. I think that's just something that we kind of decided on. But yeah, it should be the first place of the East versus the second place of the West and vice versa. So it should be Vici facing off against Alliance in the first round of a double elimination bracket, and then LGD China taking on the second place finisher of our Western Division that'll be determined in that best of 3 coming up tomorrow. So speaking of the best of 3 tomorrow, before we sign off, why don't you give us some predictions heading into tomorrow, Merlini?
Fnatic by far looks stronger than Liquid, but then again, Liquid has the higher seed advantage, them being the second place seed, so that is something to consider in the matchup. I mean, just judging from DreamHack though, Liquid lost out 2 series in a row, I believe 0-3, both of them too. And that is just highly demoralizing, especially after their disappointing finish at MLG. They're just in a slump right now, and I mean, trend is your friend. I'm just going to probably go with Fnatic just because Liquid has just been kind of in that downtrodden state. Fnatic, on the other hand, 3-0 Na'Vi. They did lose out to Na'Vi in the finals of DreamHack, but Fnatic, they've been doing pretty decently these past few days. Yep,
don't forget, Fnatic got the best of Na'Vi earlier in the season. So Fnatic, I think, is looking phenomenal. I think it's going to be a very competitive series.
Oh yeah, they beat out Na'Vi just in our D2L match.
Yep, exactly.
Yep,
so that's how they got here. So. Certainly got their revenge there, but make sure you join us tomorrow. It'll be 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Not all that long from now, not even 12 hours from now. But coming up on just about 12 hours. And again, it'll be a best of 5. But the story for the night, once again, congratulations to Vici Gaming as they join LGD China and Alliance as our 3 teams out of 4 so far that have earned their place to our grand finals coming up at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, January 7th through the 10th. And for those perhaps thinking of attending, we hope you will. There's no charge whatsoever. You don't have to buy a ticket, nothing. It's absolutely free to come. And you don't even have to have access to CES because it's actually going to be in Kingston HyperX's ballroom, which is not actually on the floor of CES. So all you got to do is come into Caesars, say, hey, where's Kingston HyperX's ballroom? And myself, Merlini, the D2L staff, and certainly our 4 teams, whoever they happen to be, following our match tomorrow, we'll all be there. And hope to see everyone come out for that. In the meantime, though, make sure you get some rest or go to work or, depending on what part of the world you happen to be in. Just make sure you're back again, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow morning, at least morning for me. It'll be noon Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. if you happen to be one of our European brothers and sisters. Until then, actually, before I do that, Merlini, one last time, make sure you tell the fine folks where they can find more about you. I'm sure they've all enjoyed you as much as I have, and would love to know how to tap more into your knowledge and all that you know about this wonderful game we love so much.
Thank you, AC, for another pleasant cast. You can find me. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, all /Merlini Dota. And I will see you as well as the rest of the viewers tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Yep, that's right. Merlini and I are going to get some rest, and hope you guys will too. Hope you go play some Dota as well. In fact, kind of screwed up my tagline now. The way it goes is, no matter if it's morning, evening, or afternoon, enjoy it and enjoy some Dota.